Seating arrangements are some of the toughest problems to do, and on your quiz you're going to see some seating arrangement problems. So let's look at an example. 4 people, Ann, Bill, Candy, and Dave, are to be seated in 4 seats. In how many ways can these people be seated? So if I try to do this with a tree diagram, when I make my first branch, that's going to tell me who's going to go in the first seat. Then I'm going to, from each one of those 4, I'm going to make another branch. That's going to tell me who's going to go in the second seat. And then from each one of those, I'm going to make a branch for the third seat and then a branch for the fourth seat. That's going to be a pretty good sized tree diagram. So instead of doing that, I'm going to go ahead and think about this in terms of the first seat, the second seat, the third seat, and the fourth seat. If I can figure out how many branches there would be at each one of those, then I can just go ahead, multiply those out, and then that will give me the total number of ways these people can be seated. So when I go to that first seat, I'm looking at putting either Ann, Bill, Candy, or Dave in there. So there's 4 ways to do that. Once I've put a butt in that seat, there's 3 remaining people. So for the second seat, I can choose from those 3. Now I've put butts in the first and the second seat. Now I'm going to go for the third seat. There's 2 people left, so there's 2 possibilities. And then once I've chosen for the first 3 seats, now there's 1 remaining. So now 4 times 3 times 2 times 1, that's 24. There's 24 possible ways we can seat those people. So the key thing here is to figure out what these tasks are that you're trying to complete where you'd be doing these branches, and then figuring out how many possibilities there are for each one. You multiply them out. Now, what if I had Ann, Bill, Candy, and Dave, but now I want to know how many seating arrangements are there if Ann and Bill are in the first 2 seats. So I'm going to think about the first 2 seats, and then the third seat, and then the fourth seat. So how many ways are there to put Ann and Bill in the first 2 seats? And now what you have to remember is it could be Ann and Bill, or it could be Bill and Ann. So there's actually 2 possible ways to do that. Now, once we've decided that it's either Ann and Bill or Bill and Ann, then how many possibilities are there for the third seat? And now, since we've already seated Ann and Bill in the first 2 seats, then the third seat is either going to be Candy or Dave, so there's 2 possibilities there. Now I've got butts in 3 of the seats, so now for the fourth seat, there's only 1 person to choose from. So 2 times 2 times 1 gives us 4. So there's 4 ways that we can go ahead and put Ann and Bill in the first 2 seats, and then basically Candy and Dave in the second 2 seats.